And when we first started, when Cheryl and I first started with them, we were just the little kid duet that would come on and sing 2 or 3 songs, you know. And the more we did it, we loved it too. And then we started learning to play some instruments. And this other couple that was in the band with Dad and Mom, they had 2 boys, and we started playing instruments, and they were playing instruments. So then we became the little kid band, and they let us come on and play 2 or 3 songs, you know, in the show. And we were the down-home kids. We were the down-home kids.
That's pretty cute.
But later on, the more we traveled and the more our family, the Whites, wanted to do it, it's like they didn't want to go and they didn't want to be gone as much and things like that. So it really became a family band.
Well, I remember one of the things I love, your fellow country legend, Little Jimmy Dickens, when he introduces you all on the Opry, he says something to the effect of, "This gentleman right here at the piano, or the mandolin, depending on what instrument you're playing, Buck, had these little girls out on stage as soon as they could drag an instrument across it." So, Sharon, how old were you when you learned how to play the guitar?
Yeah, I remember getting the guitar up in the middle of the bed and telling Sharon not to get off the bed. She could sit up in the middle of the bed and play the guitar.
That's the truth. I was probably about 8 or 9 when he started me on the guitar, and I played it for a while. And then when we started playing with these other kids, there was one of the boys played the guitar and one of them played the banjo, and so I played the bass then, and Cheryl played the mandolin. And,
wow.
But I always wanted to play guitar, and Cheryl always wanted to play the bass. So,
yeah, when we were at home with Mom and Dad, we would work on those instruments and play and sing with Dad and Mom. But then when we were with the other boys, the kids, we would go back to, and play mandolin for me and bass for Sharon. But as they started losing interest in going, they still love music to this day, but they didn't want to go like we did. And that's when, Sharon pretty much stayed on guitar and I stayed on bass. I think I started learning bass when I was about 10, or I played mandolin from the time I was about 9. And I think I started playing bass when I was about between 10 and 11.
And that's after, I guess, the other folks in the band got tired. That's when Buck let you join the grown-ups band.
Right.
And now you and the down home folks, you played mostly bluegrass festivals, correct? Or were you playing other venues too?
Well, we played other venues really first, little schoolhouses and churches and just whatever. But when the Bluegrass Festival started to be popular, that's when we started playing those. And there weren't really any in Arkansas at that time, but they had a couple of them in Oklahoma and Texas. And actually, the first Bluegrass Festival that we ever went to, we traveled all the way to Berryville, Virginia, and it was 1960. Was it 7, Cheryl? 60?
Yes, 67 for us. Dad.
Oh, yeah. First one was
Mother and Dad
65.
had been the year before in 66, and they didn't take us kids with them. They went with 2 other couples, and the next year they said, well, we're not going if y'all can't go with us. And so we all went back as a family the next year, and that was when we saw, Bill Monroe and the Osborne Brothers and Reno and Smiley and just Jim and Jesse, everybody that was anybody in bluegrass music was there. And I think Ralph Stanley was the only one that wasn't there that year, and his brother had just passed away probably less than a year before that, and he wasn't there. But anyway, we the next year he was there,
And so 1971 came along, and you all decided to pack up and move to Nashville, correct?
Yes, we told our dad that we were ready to try to make our living playing music, and were ready to move. We were not even we were in high school.
And so wasn't it soon after you all moved to Nashville that you recorded your first album, which was titled Buck White and the Down Home Folks? And which was actually a song that we played earlier was from that I played, Each Season Changes You. And I was going to ask you, was that you, Sharon, singing the lead on that? Do you remember?
Yes, it was. It was. And my mother was singing the harmony on that one at that time.
Oh, okay.
When we first moved here, Mother and Daddy and I were singing most of the trios, and sometimes Cheryl would sing one with me and Dad, or us three girls would sing one together, or sometimes we'd do a quartet. We did some of that. And but after we'd lived here a couple of years, I guess, and Mother didn't want to travel. We have two younger sisters that were still in elementary school, and she didn't like we were having to travel and be away from home a lot, and she didn't like being away from them, and so
Sure.
She said, y'all just go on. I never left you two girls. I'm not going to leave them, and so.
So what was it like to record your first album?
It was a really, it was a small bluegrass label, and we didn't even record it in a studio. We recorded it in a motel over on Dickerson Road. They took the mattresses off the beds and leaned them against the wall to kind of soundproof the room. And we got in the room and kind of circled around, in a circle, and kind of mixed ourselves. We, got distances from the microphone, and then they went into like the bathroom or something with a little control board, and they would say, "Hey, the bass is too loud. Move it a little this way," or bring in that voice a little more, and then we would cut the song, and we did our whole first album that way. And it came out in 1972.
Pretty good, too.
We're very proud of it because our mama was on it, And
it's a great album.
Great singer.
And I'll have to tell you all that the first time I ever won a contest, it was singing Each Season Changes You, which I learned from that album.
That's great. That's an old country classic that, or I guess back in those days it would have been called hillbilly music.
Did Porter and Dolly record that? I have a version of them, I think.
They may have.
I don't know if they did it
first.
first.
A lot of people did.
Wilma and Stoney Cooper did it.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Acuff did it. I think...
the Osborne brothers had a great cut of it.
Yeah, they did.
I have heard theirs, too. It sort of crossed over from bluegrass to country and back and forth.
Yeah, they did that. Mm-hmm.
And so, I guess, and from there you went on to record 4 more critically acclaimed bluegrass albums, establishing you all as one of the hottest bands in bluegrass. But it was in 1979 that Sharon and Cheryl, you sort of made your first break into pure country music, wouldn't you say? By singing harmony vocals on Emmylou Harris's Blue Country Girl album?
Yeah, that really opened a lot of doors for us. She had such a love for bluegrass music. We had actually met her in a little bluegrass club in Washington, D.C. the year before. We went in, got to town a day early and went in, and she was performing that night. And she came back the next night to hear Dad and Sharon and me, and we just struck a friendship, and she knew a lot of the bluegrass community of Washington, D.C., which is very rich in bluegrass music history. And she'd gotten to know the Seldom scene, and she got to know Ricky. He was with the Country Gentlemen and different groups up there. And so when she cut her first record and came through Nashville, we went to see her. And then by about the next year, she had Ricky's band, Boone Creek, open a couple of days. And then within another year, he was on the road with her. And that was when she, really started pulling her roots toward the love of bluegrass and really traditional country, and she wanted to do that traditional country record and have us sing on it. And then within a few months, we toured with her, and we did a television show out of Chicago called Soundstage. We did that and toured with her, and then came the bluegrass album, Roses in the Snow, and the Christmas record, Light of the Stable. And she just opened so many doors for us and put us in front of people that had never seen us before. And it was so much fun to sing with her, but she loved what we did too, and she liked having the whites, or the down home folks still at the time, open the shows for her. So we just had a great relationship, and we'll forever be thankful to her for how she helped us.